Uh-huh. Okay, let's start today with our descending fifths. Most of you have done this before. Very simple. Just remember the beginning of Blue Moon, but we're going to do it higher so you all can sing that. Blue, 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 ah. Is that a good range for everyone? That works? Everyone can do? Well, go a little higher. Ah. For various reasons, the descending fifth is the most um, relaxing musical interval. So as we sing the upper note, you can kind of feels like being this little drop of water kind of hovering above the bathtub, and then just kind of melts down. He stops struggling to levitate and just kind of melts back down into the warm tub and merges with it, disappears into it. So feeling something like that. Okay, so and we do it on the syllable ah, which is the most open sound that the body can make. So again, breathing in, nice deep breath. And we take a deep breath so that we can kind of just lose ourselves on that second note. So, and if your eyes are still open, we could close them. So again, deep breath. As that second note radiates from your body, just have the idea it's radiating out 360 degrees, just as you're melting 360 degrees into that warm bath of beingness. Let's do that again. And one more. And now we just leave the breath as it is. Just let the breath take care of itself, not paying it any special attention. Leave everything as it is. Leave everything to take care of itself. The body's already resting in the seat. The seat holds all your weight, every pound and ounce of it. So there's no work involved in sitting. It's completely effortless. We don't have to think about sitting. We don't try to be mindful of sitting. Anytime we happen to look, oh, sitting's taking care of itself. Great. Breath is taking care of itself. Great. And the senses are taking care of themselves, so that sounds just show up within our awareness. The sound of this voice, sounds from the street or within the house, they show up within our awareness, and in their own time they leave. It's a completely automatic process. We have no role in it. We're completely on vacation without effort. with regard to hearing. And it's the same with the other senses. Any sensations within the body, any visual impressions of colors dancing behind the eyelids, all happens by itself. Shows up within our awareness and in its own time moves on. We're not running the process. We're not monitoring the process or evaluating the process. We're just here, resting in the natural effortlessness of regular, ordinary awareness. We're not going for any special kind of awareness. There is no special awareness, just regular, ordinary awareness. Only noticing, perhaps a little more clearly, the beautiful effortlessness of it, the automatic nature of it, and resting in that. Just leaving everything as it is. Also, thoughts show up within our awareness, all by themselves. And in time, they leave all by themselves. And we treat thoughts exactly the way we treat sounds or colors or sensations, which is we have no role with regard to the thoughts. We just rest as this natural awareness within which thoughts come and go. Perfect. Doesn't matter what the thoughts are about. We just treat it all like it's in a foreign language or something. It's just some stuff coming and going within the awareness. Like breezes coming and going within the open sky. The sky has room for every kind of breeze. And the sky doesn't have favorites. So in the same way, this natural awareness is just naturally wide open, not trying to be, it's just its nature, wide open to whatever shows up in it in time and leaves in time. No preferences. Nothing to exclude, nothing to hold on to. Just remain like the open sky, like open space. Free. Untasked. Naturally unaffected, just as the sky is not damaged by a tornado, it's not improved by a balmy breeze. It just remains sky, it remains space. So we can notice that awareness is like that and just rest in that awareness. Like open space, naturally free from everything, even as it has room for everything. Not trying to concentrate, not trying to control the mind or have any special kind of experience, not trying to clear the mind or anything like that. Those are all projects. We just sit here resting in the awareness, the beingness, the sky-like openness that presents itself prior to any busy project that we can cook up. And just let go into that, relax into that open space. Not trying to be mindful, not trying to meditate, whatever that means. All those projects, just throw them into the fire. Just throw everything into the fire. And just rest in the free open space that remains when you throw everything into the fire. This awareness being like open space, we may notice it has no color, no size, no gender or age. No density or texture, no anything. Just pure, delicious, empty, aware presence. But there's something about it that attracts the mind, something about it that feels like home, that naturally attracts the mind to settle into it. So nothing we have to do. Just anytime we find ourselves gripping anything or resisting anything, just relax your grip. Relax back into this space-like aware presence. That's all. Now keep the eyes closed and take a few minutes to start gently bringing the body back to a more active state. You can shift around in your seat, maybe stretch your limbs, kind of like waking up from a nap. You might feel like squeezing your hands together, maybe squeezing your scalp or rubbing your face a little bit to get the blood going again. And then when you feel ready, you can slowly open the eyes. Just take all the time that the body seems to require. Okay, how is everyone doing? Everybody good? Okay. So, Erica, do you see the simplicity of what we're doing here? Yeah, and you actually you can if you would unmute yourself.
Yes,
Yes.
I see the simplicity. Yes.
Good, 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 good. Yeah. There's really nothing to it. Pretty much literally nothing to it. You know,
Right.
we're not concentrating, we're not pushing anything away, we're not holding on to anything. There's no content, there's no intellectual content or emotional content to what we're doing. It's just content less, effortless, strategy less, right? No goal we're trying to attain, no strategy for attaining it. We just notice, hi, we're already here. We're we're already here. And where is here? Here is awareness. We're always aware. Anytime we ask a question, am I aware? Yeah, sure. Um, am I doing something to be aware? No. Now, the slightly less obvious question, does awareness change? The stuff we're aware of changes, right? So, sometimes we're aware of light, sometimes we're aware of dark, we're aware of cold, we're aware of hot, we're aware of happy, we're aware of sad, all of this. We're aware of feeling so healthy we can't remember what it's like to be sick, feeling so sick we can't remember what it's like to be healthy, right? Aware of being excited, aware of being bored. That's all stuff we're aware of, and that's constantly changing through our whole life. But the thread that runs through all that is we're aware. And awareness itself is like, well, it's like the space or the sky in which all those breezes of the stuff we're aware of come and go. Okay. Or it's It's like the screen. It's like the computer screen you're looking at, right? Screen is just screen. Images and text, all that is constantly changing, constantly coming and going. We tend to forget that the screen is there, right? Because our attention's always going to the stuff on the screen, the content of awareness, the stuff we're aware of. We're watching some Netflix show and, oh, this is very exciting and this is very funny and this is very whatever. And we're not sitting there going, wow, dig the screen. But in a sense, that's what we're doing in meditation. We're digging the screen. We're just kind of falling back into awareness itself. And whatever continues to come and go, the thoughts, the feelings, the outer noises, whatever, fine. We don't engage with it. We don't try to push it away. We don't try to hold on to it. And very naturally, we tend to sink back into the screen, into our own aware presence. The other stuff's there, the thoughts are there, but they're kind of, they're up there someplace. We don't, they're not compelling. Sometimes they are. We find ourselves caught up in it, having the whole fantasy about, going on vacation, or the whole, someday, or the whole maybe negative, frightening fantasy or fear or dread about, oh, this political thing that could happen or this personal thing that could happen. We find ourselves getting gripped by stuff sometimes. Great. When you find that you're gripped by something, just relax your grip on it. Don't try to push it away. Trying to push stuff away is just a sneaky way of holding on to it, right? Because, right, in order for me to push this thing away, I got to keep holding on to it. So instead, we just relax our grip on it. Then it doesn't matter if it persists or not. And in its own time, it falls away. So that's the deal. And we usually start with a little on ramp of some kind or another. Tonight we did this singing descending fifths. And if you like that, you can use that. Just remember Blue Moon, or Oh, say, can you see? Um, or we do other things at different times with gaze or breath or body, or just a little something to as a little on ramp in, and then always take a few minutes to come out at the end, because we can physically be more settled than we realize. We don't want to shake up the body by coming out too fast.
Okay.
Okay, good. And it's really good if you really want to see what this stuff can do for you. It's always recommended to do it every day. You know, give yourself a month. What's a time when I could sit down for 10, 15 minutes every day for a month, and then see how I feel after a month. And generally, people don't feel like stopping.
Okay.
Good, good. Anything else from anybody tonight? Questions or observations about anything? All our
Hey,
questions. Yes.
Dean, this is Chad.
Yeah, good.
Hey, yeah, I've been doing this for about 4 months now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's very, I go kind of like to sleep, or it's
Mm-hmm.
very relaxing. But like sometimes I get caught up, and grabbing onto things. Like this last one was it seemed like quote unquote like rough,
Right.
and I was, um, caught up in one thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I let go, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
and it was still there, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kind of, it's like the thought kind of had like a shape, or
Yes.
boundaries or something.
Yes.
And then I realized that there was like space behind it or around it,
Mm-hmm.
but then I was still kind of caught up in the thought, and I continued, but it was kind of like it was within a space.
Yes.
Um,
That's
am I doing it right?
Yeah, you're doing great. You're fine. You've raised a couple of actually really beautiful points, Chad. First of all, that as you continue to practice, and you've been doing this for, what did you say, 4 months or
Like
something?
4 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, that the experience is always changing, right? And when the experience changes, and sometimes it just feels like, oh man, I'm just so deeply settled. Boy, I really understand what they mean about, oh yeah, bliss, the Satchit Ananda. It's really Ananda. It's really bliss. Just the mind just, like falling backwards off of a cliff. And, uh, and now I'll always be able to get back here to this blissful place, right? Sometimes we have that
Yeah.
thought. It's like, yeah, does anyone ever have those dreams where you're flying and right, and you go, "Oh, it's so easy. It's just this. Now I'll always be able to do this," right? And then as you're waking up, you go, "Yeah, I could. Wait a minute. How do I do it?" Right? So it can seem like that. It can seem like that. And then, you know, it may be that way for a while, or maybe the very next meditation might be, as you say, rough. It just seems like we're just, you know, things never feel settled down. We're just one thought after another, or obsessed with one thought or feeling or something. It can, and then there's a tendency to think, oh, wait a minute, what am I do? Am I actually, what you asked? Am I doing it right? Right? Why did it feel so subjectively pleasant the one time and now so rough now? I must have been doing it right before and I'm doing it wrong now. Let me just try to, right? There's the, right? Up jump the devil. There's the devil. The devil is the word try. Let me just try to get back to the way I was doing it before. And then you start tying yourself up in knots because it was effortlessness that allowed you to settle down deeply to begin with. It's also effortlessness that, as a result of some of that deep settling down, starts to allow the neurological footprints of some of our old traumas that we've been carrying around in our nervous system to start to unwind. And that's what causes the experience of what we call the rough meditations. We're getting our, radiator flushed. Getting all the old crap is getting flushed out of the nervous system from who knows what small and large traumas and dramas and stresses. We can't gauge it. The thoughts that we have when we're having these rough meditations don't necessarily, and in fact, usually don't directly relate to the particular traumas that are being released. So that's what causes that feeling that you're sitting there perking, hard to sit still, or just sitting there having lots of thoughts, or why am I obsessing with this dumb thing, or you're obsessing with the thing, it seems completely rational to obsess with it, and then when you come out you go, what the hell was that about? Again, like being in a dream. In fact, dreaming can be also a process of stress release like this, right? There's a settling down, right? We settle down in sleep. As a result, some of the old, you can think of them as like little springs that have gotten wound up in the nervous system. And then when we go into this more relaxed situation, the little springs start to unwind and that tension of that is being released. As a result of that unwinding, it causes some feeling of roughness, antsiness, some maybe mental turbulence, emotional turbulence. And in all the meditative traditions, whether they're Buddhist or yogic or Christian or whatever, they all know about this phenomenon and they have different names for it, of this release of the old junk. Um, and it's very important. This is one of the places where having the intellectual understanding of what's going on is important, because otherwise we could think, gee, meditation was working great for me last month. This month it's not working anymore. When in fact, what's happening is now it's really working. Some of you have heard me talk about this, being on these long meditation retreats with my old teacher Maharishi for months at a time and meditating for hours a day. Don't try this at home, by the way. Um, this you do under supervision and somewhere where your loved ones don't have to deal with you, because you can be really unloading a lot of this crap. Um, and so some of you have heard me talk about this. We'd meditate like that all day. We'd come down to the meeting hall in the evening, and people would be saying, Maharishi, I'm just sitting there all day weeping about my old girlfriend. Or Maharishi, I'm just sitting there all day bouncing around in the room, can't sit still. Maharishi, this, that. And he would listen to all of it, and then he would laugh and say, yes, yes, something good is happening. So that's the phrase to remember when these kinds of things happen. Something good is happening. We don't know, we can't know exactly what it is, exactly what's getting cleared out, but we get the result of it. Right? And that's the thing to pay attention to. You can be having meditations like that, and that's also a reason to take plenty of time to come out. So whatever radiator flushing is going on gets a chance to has a few minutes to taper off. We come back into the world, and in general, maybe not immediately after, but just in general over the days and weeks, we just feel somehow, in a way that's hard to put your finger on, there's more clarity. There's less, things are simpler. It's easier to see in a given situation which way to go, what to say to this person, what to do about this thing, without having to think about it much. More and more, it's just, oh, you see, oh yeah, you go this way, there you go that way. Um,
So
So
when you are like gripped in a thought or a sensation or something like that, and you let go, and it's still there,
Mhm.
and you don't want to, like you say, you don't want to do anything about it. You don't want, doing is the devil here, but you can kind of realize there's a larger space of awareness, but then it sucks you back to that thought again. Do you keep on doing that, going back and forth?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah. And that's the other point you raised. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, that first of all, you said that you notice, and this is a very subtle perception. Most people will go through their lives without ever perceiving this next thing that you mentioned, which is that thoughts have a shape. It's as if they have, we could say, a shape or a texture or a flavor. You know,
boundary or something?
a boundary. We don't want to be too literal about it, because it's like, as I keep saying, it's sort of like that. Um, uh, the point is that thoughts are, see, most people, when they're having a thought, because they're caught up in the content of the thought, it's like a complete abstraction. They don't realize the thought is an object itself. It's not just a thought about whatever objects or situations the thought might be about, but the thought itself is an object. It's like we could have um, a pile of travel brochures on the table, right? And we pick one up, and this is about, okay, visit beautiful Iceland. And we start reading the brochure, and we get lost in it. And we forget we're reading a brochure. It's as if we're walking around in Iceland. And then someone suddenly calls out your name or something. Hey, Chad, can you put some water on for tea or something? And suddenly you kind of snap to, oh yeah, I've been engrossed in this thing, right? Now, all the time that you were engrossed in it, okay, there's the content, the thought, the pamphlet is about Iceland, but there's also the shape of the pamphlet itself. It's this rectangular object. It's printed with such and such kind of ink and so forth, which we usually forget because it's effective. We're supposed to forget about it. It's designed to make us forget. It's like a good movie. We're supposed to get engrossed in it and forget we're watching a movie, so our heart can pound when the hero's in danger, and we can relax and go, oh, and the couple kisses and all of that. We forget it. That's one of the reasons that they bring the lights down when I watch movies. So you stop seeing your own body and you forget that you're sitting in the theater watching a movie. Okay? Very much like that. So um, most people, as I say, they just spend their lives caught up in the content of their thoughts, never realize that thoughts have a shape, that thoughts are objects. A very helpful insight from Buddhist psychology is they talk about thought as the sixth sense. This has nothing to do with, clairvoyance or anything like that. But there's, seeing, tasting, touching, smelling. What did I leave out? Something.
Hearing.
Hearing and thinking. Thinking, right? So seeing, the sense of seeing perceives colors and shapes. The sense of smell perceives aromas and so forth. The sense of thinking perceives thoughts, right? So thoughts are sense objects just as sounds and colors and so forth are. They're subtler. They're subtler, they're more inward, but they are objects of this sixth sense. And it's a very useful perspective. A lot of people just hearing that, they realize it's very helpful in terms of the meditation, that the comings and goings of thoughts is just like the comings and goings of sounds from the street. It's just a different sense. And just like the comings and goings of the sounds from the street, we have no control over it, and it doesn't matter. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Is that the sound of a motorcycle, or is that the sound of a milk truck? It doesn't matter. It's just stuff coming and going, blips coming and going on the screen. It's phenomena, wave, and they're all wave phenomena. And what we're doing is we're relaxing back into the non-phenomenal screen or field or sky or space within which all those wave phenomena come and go. So that's that background, right? And we're relaxing back into it. Now, a phrase that you used a few times is, okay, let go of it. And I occasionally use that phrase, but I used to use that all the time. I've been trying to get away from it because when people hear let go, they think, oh, the thing is supposed to go away. And so then they're going, oh, I'm trying to let go, but it doesn't go away. That's not letting go. That's holding on. That's holding on to a particular anticipated outcome, which is that this thought is not supposed to be here. We can't do that. That's not in our control. And it's not necessary. Right? So what I say instead is relax your grip. That's the one thing we have the power to do. Relax your grip. And then two things happen when you relax your grip. One is then the thing in its own time can fall away. But more important, then it doesn't matter whether it falls away or not. We relax our grip. Now the mind is open to the 360 degrees of the open sky of awareness. And this just becomes one more of the things that's there. Now, it may be, as you indicated, that 5 seconds later, we're back on this thing. Okay, relax your grip again. Relax back into this space of aware presence. Sometimes it's again and again. Sometimes we do it once, and then we're kind of socked in the whole time, and stuff kind of comes and goes in the background, but we don't get caught up in it. Sometimes we get caught up a lot. It varies. Is that?
Yeah, that's helpful, especially the sound analogy. Like, I'm to the point where like there's a barking dog, and it's fine. I can just kind of relax my grip on it, and it's something that exists. So that's fine. I'll just, it exists and it's there. But thoughts, it's harder, with. But
thoughts are, yeah, because thoughts can have all kind of content, and the thoughts can be the thought about, gee, my neighbor is so rude. Why don't they control that dog? Or anything. I mean, that's the thing. The human mind is this incredible gift because it can think anything, and it's also this great challenge because it can think anything. We can brew up all kinds of trouble for ourselves with this thinking machine in here. So Yeah, but it's a very most people find this a very helpful perspective that thoughts are just like sounds. They're a little bit quieter. They're a little bit subtler. And feelings, same thing. Feelings come and go. This is big news for people. That okay, sometimes a happy feeling is coming or going. Sometimes a sad feeling is coming or going. A restless feeling, a tranquil feeling, a depressed feeling, a joyous feeling. Why do we call them feelings? Because they feel certain ways. In other words, they're like sensations. They're like sensations. So just as thoughts are like sounds, only quieter, subtler, feelings, emotions are like sensations, only quieter, subtler. And of course, in regular life, right, the other 23 and a half hours of the day, if you say to people, if someone says, oh, I was really happy yesterday and today I'm just really depressed, and you go, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you feel. They'll think we're very rude. So we don't say that. We know that for ourselves ultimately, which is huge. Another thing, most people in their lifetime would never imagine this. It sounds absurd to say it doesn't matter whether you're happy or sad. But if part of the problem is the phrasing of it, we say, I am happy. As if, right? Am, that's the verb to be. As if happy is what I am, as if that's my identity. Then the next day you say, I'm depressed. I say, wait a minute. Yesterday you said you're sad. Now you're someone else? Right? So it's much more realistic, much more accurate to say, I feel happy. I feel sad. Or even better would be the sensations, the subtle sensations that I associate with happiness have shown up within the open space of my awareness. Right? Right? Now, if you say that to your friends who don't do this stuff, who are civilians, they'll think you're completely whacked out. So we don't do that, right? But can you see that that's really a more accurate representation of what's going on? The sensations associated with the feeling of depression, right? Depression feels a certain way. It feels like it's pressing you down, hence the term depression. Joy feels a certain way, feels like effervescent, right? They're sensations. And so we just make this deal with ourselves when we sit down to meditate that whatever shows up, we don't judge it, we don't hold on, we don't select, we don't hold on to this, push that away. So for those, 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, it doesn't matter what you feel, just as it doesn't matter what sound you hear from the street or what thought. It's just all phenomena, different wavelengths, uh, uh, joyous feeling is like one frequency of vibration. Depressed feeling is a different frequency. Just these different frequencies of vibration showing up within the open space of awareness, and we just sit relaxing into that open space, letting what comes come, letting what goes go. That's secondary. What's primary is relaxing back into the space. And then it profoundly starts to shift the way we relate to this stuff in the other 23 hours. As you indicated, starts being outside of meditation. Oh, the barking of the dog, that's just a sound. I don't have to be caught up in that. And you may start to see that even
Works.
people think that, what is it, Judy?
I'm sorry, I forgot I was unmuted.
Okay.
It works.
It works.
The idea of it's just a dog that's doing its thing.
That's right. It's a dog doing its thing. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Everyone's holding up their end. Right, right. So, people have this idea that, oh, a master of meditation, an enlightened person, a Buddha, would never experience sadness. That's not the case. That's not the case, you know. Um, but what it is they are no longer caught up in the idea that it's unacceptable to experience sadness, right? Just as they're no longer caught up in it's unacceptable to hear the barking of the dog. Sadness can come and go. It's just another wave on the ocean for the person who's totally there, totally enlightened. It's they're experiencing the ocean, actually experiencing themselves as the boundless ocean all the time, and then the different feelings that come and go are different waves on the ocean. The different thoughts, the different sensations, the different situations are all waves that come and go. And the waves are all still the same size as they ever were, but they're all kind of dwarfed now by the ocean. So things are not overwhelming the way they were. Is that making sense to people? You hearing this stuff? Any other? So Chad, you're good? Good, good. Any other questions about this stuff? Or yes, Marie, please unmute yourself. You're muted. You're still muted, Marie. There you go.
I had an interesting experience yesterday. I had a surgery yesterday on my wrist. I had an accident 6 months ago, and they were taking off the metal plate and the screws and all of it. But it was not life-threatening, but it was a surgery. Mm-hmm. And when they wheeled me into the surgery room, on the operating table, I had some time to, discuss with the anesthesiologist, and then he walked away, and I had, all of a sudden, I just had a feeling of being supported, like someone was holding me, although I was not very scared because it was not a huge surgery. But all of a sudden, and all the noise of the operating room and all the things disappeared. I just felt like I was holding on, or I was flying on some kind of a spaceship blanket or something. Mm-hmm. Just a very good feeling. And then, of course, the surgery went well. And after that, the nurses told me, "You were an unusual patient today, mm-hmm. because you were so relaxed. You were cool. You had a normal blood pressure. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen this for some time." Mm. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Well, as Judy said a couple of minutes ago over there in the Amen corner, it worked.
It worked. It worked, absolutely. Yeah. I knew what it was, Dean. I knew what was this about. I kind of felt this was, I was supported by this large space, so these little things, everything else disappeared.
Yeah. No, that's lovely. Oh, thank you for sharing that. I love hearing stories like that. Yeah. And it's interesting because the growth of our consciousness, the growth of our awakening through this kind of meditation, because the meditation itself is so natural. We're not doing anything flashy. We're not doing anything. We're just incrementally settling into this space of aware presence, and then coming out, and more it comes out into, this beingness comes out into the doingness with us. More and more, it's like you throw the dry sponge into the bucket of water, it comes out wet. Then you use that water, you wash your car or whatever, it gets dry again, you have to throw it into the bucket. But this is like a magic sponge because the more you throw it in the bucket, the wetter it stays. One day it just stop, it never gets dry again, and that's what we call awakening. But it's not just some one day all of a sudden, it's just gradually becomes more like that. So more and more everything that we do, every experience we engage with out in the world, that wetness, that of the so to speak, of the the infinite okayness of just being, more and more percolates into the whole world of doing.
And I feel that. I feel that in me.
And again, can you hear, this is language that for people who've not experienced this might just sound absurd. What are we talking, beingness, coming into doing this? But yeah, everyone here to some degree has tasted that experience. You've experienced that which those words refer to, right? Um, and because it happens gradually, naturally, organically, incrementally, um, sometimes we might be practiced for weeks or months at a time, and we go, "Is this thing really working? I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel dramatic." But it's kind of like a young child growing. You don't see them shooting up from day to day, but then one day now winter comes around again. You put their old sweater on them, and the sleeve is up to here. So in the same way, we're going along. Is this stuff working? I don't know. And then when something challenging happens, like you go in for surgery, something that other people, it makes their blood pressure rise, or for you a year ago or 2 years ago it might have made your blood pressure rise and now it doesn't. Or maybe just a very challenging day happens, or week or month, in terms of the certain things that happen in your life, situations with people or business or work or relationships, where it's and and while you're handling it, you may not think about it, and then the end of the day or the end of the week, whatever, you stop and you go, "Why, I handled that really well. I really handled that smoothly. There was something very seamless and
Mhm.
easeful about the whole thing." And I didn't consciously do anything different, but somehow the whole thing was just more smooth and frictionless.
Less drama. Less drama.
Drama, less drama. Our former president, number 44, they used to call him No Drama Obama. And whatever one's politics are, you could see that quality to him. He was
Mhm.
cool. He was cool. Some people just kind of naturally are cool. The rest of us, we're the remedial kids. So we have to do something to get cooled out. So that's what we're doing here in a sense.
And some of us started pretty late.
Yeah, but you know what? It's
It's
never,
very weird.
never too late. I saw a bumper sticker once on a car. It said, "It's never too late to have a happy childhood." And
What a nice one.
isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? I love that. I love that. Um, and yeah, no, really, it can seem like that. Oh, I started so late and I'm, this many years old, whatever. That's all nonsense, really. All, and I don't know if you've ever had that experience, maybe others have had this experience where, sometimes when in certain kind of moments of great clarity, you sort of get a sense of how thing, like all the causes and conditions of your life, all the complex, this thing influence this thing, this all the different dominoes, how they all kind of culminate in you being here, right here, whatever's going on at this moment. Like there's kind of an inevitability to it, you know. Um, does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, yeah, you've been there. They actually, according to the sutras, this happened to the Buddha. Just to, in the some of the last moments before, in his 49 days sitting under the fig tree meditating, culminating in his final enlightenment. Shortly before those last moments of that, they say he saw all the, not only all the past moments of this life, but all, supposedly all his previous lifetimes, all bringing you to that moment. And there's a kind of a, you know, domino hitting domino thing, that inevitability to it, that it there's like a rightness to it happening just the way it is, just the way it all happened. I mean, the fact that any of us can ever fall into, you know, seeing some possibility that there is, for lack of better words, a field of infinite okayness underlying everything in our life. Just the possibility that that might be the case. Infinite okay. Whether you want to call that nirvana or God or the kingdom of heaven or whatever, that those things, that thing that all those people talked about might be really real. And then that there might actually be a method. There might actually be something that we could do wherever we are, wherever we're sitting on our home, some that we could start to access that. I mean, the fact that any of us ever fall into that, as far as I'm concerned, that's that's amazing grace. You know, um, if it happens any time in your life, if it happens on your deathbed, oh, infinite okayness, relax into this. Great, it's a happy ending. Yeah, I know. Good. Anything else tonight? Okay. That means it's music time. So um, we're gonna do a little mantra here, and y'all can sing along or just let it wash over you, whatever you feel. Um, what should we sing tonight? So People ask about the meanings of the mantras. Basically, they all mean infinite okayness. Yeehaw. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, so blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, so blind, but now I see. Okay, so may all beings swiftly notice the amazing grace that is all around them. Relax their grip on whatever else they think is going on and relax into that. And, and happiness prevail naturally.
We're losing you.
It's something. It's something. There's always something, and that also is amazing grace. So the Sanskrit for that, Loka samastaha sukhino bhavantu loka samastaha sukhino bhavantu loka samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Also, namaste.
And where'd she go? Carol, your sister's still here? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, so Erica, if you want to receive the notifications of these and the links, so you don't have to, depend on Carol to forward it to you, just drop me a line. I'll put you on the mailing list. We send these every Tuesday morning.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
great, good. Okay, see
It
you.
was great, Dean. Chad, thank you for what you shared.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't
That
it?
was really,
Yeah.
I learned a lot
I
from that conversation.
always come back to this, the power of what they call the Sangha, the group,
Hmm.
the
Absolutely.
the synergy, and how we're just kind of all on this adventure together, and we learn from each other's experiences, and we think we have nothing to ask, and then we go, oh right, that's been, sometimes the stuff that's closest, that's most sort of intimate, what we're processing, we're so kind of busy processing it, we don't have the distance to sit back and articulate it. It wouldn't occur to us to ask about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we are. Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Here, everybody.
Thank you.
See you
Thank
all
you.
soon.
Bye.
Enjoy.
Bye. Right.